Thank you for joining us. It's a great, blessed meeting. Yeah, we do. We used to have one. That's all right. Oh, it is. I'll keep this out here. Thank you for you joining us online. I know we have many folks that are doing that today, and certainly people that came to the other services. I believe our St. Columba congregation has put up the TV, and they're joining us there as well. Thank you, Bishop Bob Gillies, for taking services at St. Columba's. Thank you to everybody. This is also for you that are joining us later that are watching this recorded. For those of you joining us online, Bobby's going to put up on the screen, whatever platform you're joining us there, his cell phone number. Don't hand that out, but text him with questions you've got. If you text Bobby, Bobby will get us those questions. Oh, I don't have my phone. Oh, I've lost it already. I don't know where it is, Bobby. I don't know where my phone went. Yeah. Bobby's going to put his phone number up. All right, so Bobby's putting his phone number. Don't text my phone because I don't know where it is at the moment. That's pretty typical. Thank you all for being here. Very exciting. Really thrilled to be at this point. Hours and days and weeks and months, really years have went in bringing this point, but hearts and effort and energy, meetings, countless meetings behind the scenes, emails. So many people have put so much into this. Tim, thank you for your leadership as gathering place chairperson. Thank you to our construction committee. I want those construction committee please stand, and I'm going to have steering committee. Some of you are on the same. There's construction committee. And stay standing, construction committee, because I'm going to ask steering committee to stand as well. Thank you, brother. God bless you. And some of you couldn't be here. As they're being seated, they met week after week, whether online, in person, and now it's been handed off from the steering committee. They steered it to the point of selecting a contractor, and now the construction committee has taken over. That's a change. We haven't disbanded the steering committee, but they've stepped back as the construction committee has stepped forward. We want to keep this meeting to 45 minutes to an hour, so 11:45 noon. We plan to be finished, and so if you need to get up, you need to leave early, please do so, but that's our target. Delighted to have with us our architect, Paul Donahoe. Thank you, Paul. Everything you've done steered us to this point. Amazing. I'm going to let Tim say some more about all of this and their roles, and to welcome Alex Woodbury, our owner rep. Alex, there you are. Thanks, Alex. And thank you not only those who've been working on committees and doing the work of getting us to the point, navigating architectural plans, permits, and all of that. But thank you to all of you, however you have given towards this project thus far, in whatever way, certainly financially. You've brought us to, what's our number right now?
308 people.
308 people have given a total of $5,285,000. I have 5 million. Oh, that's the contract. Yep. Thank you. We have, and we're hoping that Mahalo wall just grows. It's really been beautiful to see everybody coming together to build what is truly a gathering place. Let me say again, I said it in my sermon, it is needed. We cannot continue doing what we're doing long term. I'm surprised we've gotten away with it this long. Just being able to cook 700 meals in the back, truck them over in the rain.
The oven does not work.
And the oven's broke again. It's a lot. I mean, you're talking about it's a lot. And then have chickens running around. It's very, it's cute and nice, but it's unsanitary. And to have Kapuna walking over to these two little rooms, it's really just a practical thing for the size and parish who we have become. It's not even looking so much forward to what we can do. It is, but it's also just sustaining what we're already doing. So, and it's coming at the perfect time with the Chalk property acquisition, because what it does is it places the Gathering Place literally and now the new center of our life together. And so let's stop there and pray. The Lord be with you. Lord God Almighty, we are so blessed. And as I said earlier in the worship service, churches would beg for the challenges we have. We are so blessed with holy challenges, ways that you're calling us to reach out, to share your love, to serve in your name. Thank you for these blessings. May we always see them as blessings, not as burdens, but as blessings. Help us navigate these waters, not giving into anxieties or worries or fears, but trusting that you're not only with us, you're already ahead of us. And we're walking towards you, listening for your voice. Guide our discussions this day, and God bless us with your wisdom. In Jesus' name, amen. Lastly, you're going to hear in just a minute, as we're coming in this final home stretch, just want to say personally a thank you to Harry Morley for this $300,000, where are you at, Harry? Challenge grant. I accidentally put in the email that went out $300 challenge grant. It had a few more zeros behind it. Harry, thank you for this gift to be able to bring us home to this point. I know that some numbers, they look a little different because I'm excited, and I already believe that the 300 is going to be matched. So I've kind of included that in what my calculation is. The real number that we need to raise to finish the whole project is $791,000. If you add in the 600, meaning the 300 and 300 match, that brings it down to 191. I have every confidence that we can move forward. Wouldn't you say, Tim? That we can move forward if we can hit this 300,000 challenge. I haven't talked to the vestry, but in vestry, I'm kind of speaking for you. But that will give us a good 16 months to raise that last 190. There's enough money there to pay the contractors going forward until we raise that last bit. And there are always folks are so generous, so kind, that say, you need it, you need the last bit, I'm here to help you. So if we can hit this 300, if we can go at that, we can lock into the contract bid, and which would mean Easter week.
Easter week,
Yep.
breaking ground. They first of all put up a big fence around, and then demo the existing pavilion, keeping the bigger timbers for use in the new dining hall. And before that, we've got some jobs to do to move some of the white picket fencing, to move the swing sets. You should actually see some action within a couple of weeks. But the break ground in Easter week, I mean, we sort of we didn't plan this months ago, but here it is, possibly Easter Monday, at least Easter week. So we did promise David that not the week of Easter. That would probably kill him.
I would love if we processed out of here on Easter Sunday and went over and blessed the ground. That would be a cool thing to do.
There's a lot in this 5 pages of writing, this Gathering Place update. I don't think Paul and I should read everything. I'm going to start with the second paragraph, just to point out that the Gathering Place...
Is Mike? Mike, I'm going to switch your mic out with mine.
Right.
You're just going in and out. Okay, there you go. You're good. There you go. Sorry, keep going.
That's okay. So the Gathering Place is not just for the meal, and it's not just for the church. The Gathering Place is for the town, and that's why we got a $200,000 grant from the state for the Gathering Place. It will be a community center for Waimea. It will be the only certified kitchen in all of North Hawaii that is fully certified as a hot kitchen. There is one in North Kohala now that Kohala Food Hub operate, and that's a certified cold kitchen. And they're having trouble getting people to access this and understand what a cold kitchen is. You can't cater out of a cold kitchen. You can cater out of a full certified hot kitchen. We know that we have partnerships already with Hope Services, with Kohala Food Hub, with Vibrant Hawaii. We expect to have a lot more with Kokua Christian Ministry, who may well bring their Wednesday morning meal over to this center when we have it. With 4-H, with some of the USDA folk in Hilo who've been talking about offering cooking classes, feeding people on a budget, nutrition, all kinds of things, which is really exciting. I can't wait. We have to wait about a year. But it's not that long now. It's not super distant. The next piece is the value engineering, and I think I want Paul to talk to this. There's quite a lot of detail. It's been messy, actually, the last few weeks. Value engineering is messy. It's kind of, what if we scratch that? And then, well, that could save a lot of money. Well, we can't scratch that, don't we? So the construction committee has analyzed a number of things. The biggest pieces are essentially givebacks from the contractor. The biggest pieces are that we can buy some really large pieces of equipment, the nano wall, which is the folding doors systems, window door system, all the Bargreen Ellingson big kitchen equipment package. We buy that directly. The contractor does not put on a percentage. And that's a gift from them to us. So we've said, all right, we'll take that out. We'll buy it directly. You don't put on a percentage, but you'll still install it and guarantee it. And they said, yeah. So that's a big piece from Quality Builders. We looked at the dining room flooring, which was going to be this substance called terrazzo, which is a poured kind of hard floor. And it's expensive. It's not used very much on this island, actually. We're now looking at a grind and seal. Am I using the right phrase? Yeah. I think I am. Which is essentially a concrete, but it's not like a stained concrete, which is easy to bust up. Because it's been grinded and sealed, it's stronger, a lot cheaper. It will take a bit more maintenance. Maybe once every 5 years we have to do a reseal. But the savings were significant. A lot of other items, some of which are not so significant, but believe me, we ran down a big list. Some of the things that on construction committee that we ended up digging our heels in and saying no was we could have put in a drop gypboard ceiling, just flat the ceiling, and we said no, we want exposed wood. So the ceiling in the dining room will look very much like the church. The spans are much greater, but Paul has actually designed them so they sort of mimic what's happening in the church, but it's actually a lot wider. We also said, no, we don't want prefabricated trusses because then we lose that look. So there are some pieces that we kept. We deleted some really nice little half-size rock walls that would match what we have around the cemetery. We took that out. We might be able to bring it back. There are some things that we've taken out saying, this is what, we can pare it down, we don't need it yet. We took out the covering for a new dumpster, which we need over there, and indeed a covering area for the dumpster at thrift store. We took that out. We might be able to put that back too. It's not necessary, so we took it out. We cleaned a lot. And taking out the AC in the kitchen, we didn't take it out completely. It's not designed to have a lot of airflow. It's designed to be quite sealed, so we need AC. But we took out the big AC system that would sit on the building, and we changed it into a split AC system, which is a lot cheaper.
Maybe say something about the apartment.
The apartment, that's actually a big piece. The apartment we considered, because a lot of people have talked to us about it, we considered scratching the apartment completely. And there's a whole section in this about why we wouldn't save that much. We would lose at least a year, which is huge. And we would actually be going against one of the biggest donors to the whole project, which is Tom Robertson's estate. Tom Robertson's estate, when he passed, he wanted to gift the remainder of his estate, which largely included his Mauna Kea, Hapuna home. And that all sold last year. Richard has been the executor and has been helping figure out has been doing all the work. Actually, the church is not really involved in any of the work, but figuring out taxes, costs due, and as that sale recedes into the distance, being able to gift more to the church. Tom actually put in his will that he wanted that apartment. So we have taken, so far, the vestry has allocated $1 million from that estate to the gathering place. That's a big piece. matches what Nancy gave us at the very beginning. So that we didn't want to take the money and then ignore the intent of the gift, which is to put the unit above. So we kept the unit above. We trimmed some of the detail on the unit. So David just mentioned turnkey cost of construction, and I can't tell you how many times we tweaked this number over the last 4 days, because that's what happens with contract work. Now that we've taken a certain amount of work away from the general contractor, we have to make sure we're allowancing that in our budget. So now we have to pay for Nanowar directly. We have to pay for Bargreen Ellingson directly. Did we make sure we put tax on that before we put an allowance in there? So the turnkey construction for quality build, for that contract piece, $5,210,000, which includes a contingency. And to be clear, that contingency of 5%, which is almost $250,000, is actually not in the contract with Quality. Quality's is a tight, fixed contract that doesn't move unless there's a change order. The contingency is ours. So we put a contingency onto that, because otherwise there isn't a contingency in there. Their contract does not have a contingency in it. Otherwise they'd be charging us, admin percentages on top of the contingency. So they're not doing that. That's ours. And then the other costs remaining costs to Paul, to Alex, HECO and Department of Water Supply. Who knows? We've allowed a lot. We've allowed $60,000 for each, for electrical provision, water provision. There still might be more, honestly, there, which is one reason why the contingency is so big. With St. Columba's, we ended up paying about $75,000, I think, for the electrical provision. It was because they needed to put in a new pole. They needed to, I don't know why it cost that much. That's right. Thanks, Ian, for reminding me. We had to do the whole rest of the church as part of it.
What did he say? I'm sorry.
At St. Columba's, we had to do the whole rest of the church, rewiring the whole church as part of bringing in.
And that was 3 years ago, so costs have gone up from then since then also.
It's actually, you generally speaking, have an easier way of things with a new build. Right? You're not trying to fit, we're not redoing an ancient building. So it's a new build. We complicated matters somewhat by saying that the PV, the photovoltaic, would cover electric for this building, the church, and the office. And that changed some figuring with HECO. We're still talking to them. If we need to take that out, at least if our working, we will. It's made them talk about a bigger electrical supply than we think we need. But this is why we also have an allowance for engineers. And some engineers will still continue to work on the project. We are going back to our mechanical engineers, for instance, to specify the split air conditioning needed to replace the big system. So we have the big number. I'm a big number guy. It's 6.626 at the moment. Just over $6.5 million. That's the big number of the general contractor required sum, what we spent already, about $550,000, and all of these allowances for things that we need to buy ourselves. We need to pay HECO, DWS. These are things outside of the general contractor contract. So we've raised $5,285,000. Can we have a whoop for $5,285,000? Is that? Was I sure we did? No. I'm never sure. So we still need what looks like over $1 million, but with Harry Morley's amazing gift and with the gift that keeps giving, Tom Robertson's estate, there's a further $400,000 coming from Tom Robertson's estate, not immediately, but over the next 16 months. Maybe a bit more. Yeah.
Maybe another 100.
Exactly. The IRS has to be fed. And we're allowing for that. We are very close to 6 million. We're very, very close to 6 million now. Another 300,000, which would be the amount that would match, essentially, would match Harry Morley's challenge, would get us so close. We have grants. There are only 2 listed here. The Ching Foundation, 50,000. We asked for 100,000. They asked us to redo it. So we redid it for 50,000. So that's the nature of that relationship. It doesn't mean we'll get it, but we feel pretty good about it. Richard Smart Fund has been leading us on, is the wrong phrase. They've been in conversation with us for a year they want to give us this money. They don't give capital funds usually. So they're having to go through various levels of boards at the Hawaii Community Foundation to get this approval. We have other grants pending, and one of the biggest ones is Empower, which is a Hawaii Energy grant. It'd be nice to get some money back from HECO. HECO actually funds Hawaii Energy. So, and there's an IRS elective grant, which is equivalent to the tax break you would get if you put PV on your roof. We can get, even though we are not a taxpayer, by getting what's called an elective grant. We actually have to have the PV installed before the end of the year. Not completely 100% sure we'll get that, but we are hoping we can. It's pretty big. That's at least another 60,000. Kay, which is not listed here, Kay Elledge is doing some digging for us now, and as soon as we get the general contract signed, she will go to various equipment suppliers, fixtures and fitting suppliers, with her a very long experience in the design architect industry. She is going to ask for discounts. She knows she's got some already. We haven't included any of that, and there really could be quite significant savings in some of those items. We know we can get to this number, and we really think that this parish can help us. But it isn't just the parish. There are significant givers outside of the parish, significant community members that have also seen the benefit of the gathering place, and we will turn to them as well, both people that have already given, and we can ask them to be more generous, and those that have not yet given. And as David said, it is very true. At the end of a capital campaign, you do get this momentum, which we've gotten with Harry Morley. Fantastic challenge. I want to keep calling it a challenge. Thank you, Harry. And with Tom Robertson's estate, and we have... how many weeks? Lent is 5 more weeks.
5 more weeks.
5 more weeks. I mean, that to a capital fundraiser, that's a bit scary. 5 weeks, not very long. But I think we really can make this challenge and get close enough that the vestry can sign off on the general contractor contract. We move ahead with approving it with diocese. There has to be legal review. That will all happen in the next few weeks. The actual sign-off needs to happen before Easter so they can start of Easter week. Why we're not building on the Chalk property, so I think I covered why the apartment remains. Why we're not building on the Chalk property, David, do you want to talk to that?
Sure. I think that's for, thanks, Bill. So we went through an extensive exercise because in some ways it makes sense, and then in other ways, when you start to unfold it, you put the pros and the cons. Believe me, this was, buried our head in it and really analyzed it and looked at all the ways that it could be a possibility. It came down to the reality that a couple things. One was practical, that if this, in one sense, don't see it this way, don't go out and say I said it like this, but in some sense, it's a good old-fashioned parish house. It's a meeting space, kitchen, and bathrooms. And if turning the Chalk building into, I mean, it's going to be way bigger than that and what it is and its purpose, but for the parish, the church, putting it clear over there, and I know it's not that much farther, but you're walking people, it's a distance thing, so there was a location thing. I mean, that was just a simple practical thing. The other, I mean, a very practical part of it was that was not what the money for the Chalk property was given for. You know, quite honestly, the money for the Chalk property was not given so the gathering place can be moved over there. And certainly we could go back to the givers of that gave money towards that, but that was not what they gave it for. There are specific ideas and hopes and thoughts that property may be used for. Nothing is set in stone, so we haven't accepted a gift with conditions on it, but we have accepted a gift with parameters towards pointing towards what we hope it'll be used for. The other thing, shoots, I'm so tired from this morning's mass. When I do a meeting after the service.
Well, the other big reason is the time it would take.
Oh, that's the other thing.
Paul gave us about a year if we took the apartment out. Well, it would be way more if we changed the site. We haven't done soil surveys. There's floodplain. There's so much that you have to do. Paul, when did we bring you up? Can you remember?
6 years ago.
6 years ago. That's about how long it would actually take. I mean, maybe That's hard to believe, but 6 years we've been in the planning and dreaming for the gathering place, and it took us that long to get here. The idea of starting again on a new site, it would be...
Yeah, that was that was another factor. I went to folks who've helped with this and asking them to say, we'd like to shift this now, that's a lot to ask people who have brought this to their point. And I think we could do that, but the church, we would need to look at a new committee and to start this over with another group of people, because frankly, from the folks I talked to, I mean, I'm personally exhausted by this. We have got to build this thing because I don't have much more energy to get this farther. And I'm just being real with you on that. I'm trusting in God, but I think the committee could say that all too. They have given their hearts to this thing. So if it's going to go forward the way it is, it probably needs to happen soon for God's glory, for some of us to be a part of it. And that's not pressure, and that's not I hope that's coming. Is that coming out the right way? I don't want it to come out wrong. But I think this has taken a lot out of folks in their energy level and their heart. And there's only so far with what people have to give. And so I think you'd be starting over with a new group. So that's another reason. I'll shut up now.
Yeah. Well, and permit is another piece. So it's taken us, it's almost a year, not quite, maybe 9 months, something like that, permit. Yeah, so we were almost ready to go to permit in January last year, and a number of things happened that involved engineers again. We didn't go until August, but we still should have received it by November. Department was slow in getting comments back. We were pretty fast in every time we had a comment or a request firing back at them, and our engineers were very good. We didn't have to, sometimes you really have to chase an engineer who's turned to another project to relook at a question from county, but they have everything with structural engineering, fire mechanical, all approved, electrical, plumbing, all approved after some revisions, wastewater completely approved after they had the biggest, Department of Health had the biggest revisions and latest revisions. So it's just planning who gave us the plan approval back in January last year. It has to go through planning one more time. We're not actually quite sure why. And then back through building permit, a guy called Todd, who probably has about 40 of these things sitting on his desk. So it's just a question of when he administratively gets to them. We have talked with the acting chief of the department, Aaron Spielman, who has assured us that there's no reason why this shouldn't go through straight away. It is just admin. We're still thinking, you wrote, Paul, a couple of weeks.
Yep.
A few weeks. It's hard not to get really frustrated with that process because right now we have 3 grants that we don't get the grant until we get the permit. So cash flow is pretty important. And there are a couple other grants, I haven't mentioned them here, that I can go for once there's a permit. The McInerney won't let you ask for capital until you have a permit. So there's some foundations that specifically wait for a permit. Impact on St. James campus. Ian, I think you're up. Do you want to talk about impact on St. James campus?
Yeah, sure.
We got people joining us online, so they can hear. I'm going to give you this microphone.
Okay. All right. Who's gone through construction projects at their house or anywhere else? It's going to be messy. But we have the benefit, at least now, of having the chalk property to stage all the construction equipment. We're going to open up a road coming from where the construction equipment's held, so that nothing will have to go out onto Kauai High Road and then back in. We will have a very large tent set up on that side of the campus for hosting the meal and other activities. It will stay up permanently through the duration of the project. You can do that through special use permits. And yeah, we're really otherwise trying to minimize the impact on the schools, the yoga studio, etc. while this is going on, but there'll be some disruptions, but we can be sensitive to the drop-off and pick-up times and things like that. So, and I think those who've had experience with quality builders in other programs. You know that the GCs are sensitive to these things to try and minimize disruption, make sure that the area stays as clean as possible, things like that. Was there something big I forgot on? The tent?
Will it be like when we had the funeral for Phil Conley, like that? Right?
Actually, in this thinner area, just beyond the cemetery wall before the thrift store, the white fence will go, and the tent will go in that smaller space. It will actually be a lot closer to the kitchen and be significantly easier to get food over to it. It's only 35 across, no, 30 across and 55 long. We've talked to Big Island Tents. They will help us put it up and take it down. It won't necessarily stay up forever. If there's really serious weather coming, we'll take it down before it rips. That will cost. We don't, I mean, it's kind of an unknown to be operating inside a tent for a long period of time. But we were also advised by them this was a good place because we're in lee of those high trees, and it's significantly better than if we put it out in front when we'd essentially get the same kind of weather that comes across the district park. And they told us, well, they could never leave a tent up there very long. So, for a year.
Jim and Ludwig facilitated purchasing it from the mainland, saved us a bunch of money from sourcing it locally or renting it. So it'll be something, yeah, we'll be able to likely sell it at the end if we, yeah.
Ludwig Simmet has been amazing practical help. He's the person that bought the PV equipment and is storing it. It saved us, I mean, we got it for 50% of what we'd be paying for it now. So saved us significant money. So we didn't buy a lot of things in advance. That was the first thing we did buy, and now we're going into this nano walls and then the kitchen equipment. There are issues with buying things in advance. The warranty starts ticking as soon as you buy it. You know, so you have to take that into consideration. You have to know that you have someone that will install it and validate those warranties. And so we've ensured that with quality builders that they will do that even though they're not receiving the percentage that every installer usually gets, right? They get the percentage of buying the equipment and adding their piece. I want to ask, are there any other questions? Actually, that's probably the best before we wrap up. Who's got any questions about the sort of practical piece, which is what Ian was talking about?
So the meal will not be interfered with, it will just carry on the regular schedule?
We hope, you know, Mel, we've only stopped a couple of times for bad weather. We stopped once for 1 week for COVID, and then we started the drive-through. If the tent disappears completely, we will probably continue a drive-through. You know, so the meal never wants to stop. It's possible. We haven't got the Chalk building yet. It's possible that we might be able to use the big warehouse on the Chalk property. We haven't looked. We would need to get windows and airflow and floor sort out the flooring properly. There are a lot of pieces to that, but the tent is certainly the first piece. And yeah, the meal team wants there not to be a break. You know, we had 1 week's break for COVID. We don't need a break for rebuilding the pavilion.
Also moving the shipping containers.
Yes.
Yes, because that's obviously part of the construction site, so they'll move that way.
So one moves nearer the thrift store and will actually be more or less in the position where people often drive up and park when they're dropping things off. So there'll be another container there coming into the road a little bit. That will be the dry goods. And the other container will move over behind the office where we actually have that's our best electrical provision there. Do you remember when we had the tooth bus? So because of the tooth bus, we put in a special supply around there, 240 volts. So we've got that to run the fridges and freezers.
Could you speak to traffic? How is traffic going to change?
One of the things we thought early on is we maybe wanted to change the traffic so that especially if there was drive-through, we could go that way around, drive through at the pavilion, and it wouldn't back up to the road. Since we don't intend to drive through unless we have to, we've taken that out. And as Ian just said, with the Chalk property being a staging area, we will keep the loop running as usual. it'll block sometimes for a concrete pour. I mean, in the first month, the first thing is the fence around, then demo of the pavilion, and then the concrete pour, essentially. And when that slab is poured, I mean, from my experience, there's a half a day at least that you simply can't provide access there. We will break through these two parking lots. They're not just parking lots, they're beautiful grass areas, and we want to keep them grass areas. So we'll break through so that it will be possible for people to come in here and go and park here and then access the rest of campus if there's a temporary blockage, sort of bottleneck at the pavilion gathering place. Go ahead.
What hours will construction be taking place?
It's usually 8 to 4. You got any update on that?
Yep. So Martha did the whole great logistics plan, talking to everybody on campus, and she's got this amazing schedule of when everybody is operating, and that's been given to the general contractor to know, don't be working during these times, limited on these times, that kind of stuff. So they're being really sensitive towards our construction logistics plan, we call it.
Yeah. Well, just personally, Quality Builders did the last 2.5 years of rebuild on the Cumwella Inn, which I own with my wife, and we never closed. So they were able to fence off very tightly, as a really tight space, much tighter than this, and not have to close the inn, not have to close for traffic, except for concrete pours. But that was the sort of thing that we had to move around, but we never closed. So I think there's no expectation that we would have to close campus for any significant period of time. Perhaps a few hours when a big concrete pour is happening. And that's just for that piece. Go ahead.
Just to make sure I understood you correctly, so the dry goods container will be parked on the rock part of the, by the thrift store? Is that what you said, where we receive donations?
Yes.
Okay, so would that be a permanent or just temporary?
Well, temporary for the meal until we're moving into gathering place. And I think the general plan is to give thrift store the container after. And if, Rona, if we decide it's better to rejig and think that, the great thing is there will be a contractor on campus. And, you know, Ian's probably thinking of all kinds of things we could ask them to do. You know, they will have equipment, they can move things for us. And so for them, moving a container is not a particularly difficult thing.
Thrift store will accommodate every single ministry, no matter what, but what I'm thinking in my mind is how can I make sure that the thrift store continues to flow with donations?
With drop-offs.
If I should reroute my donations, you know, to receiving it in another area where it's not obtrusive or inconvenient to the, while we're going through this temporary change. So I need to inform my team to let them know we will be having that container right there in the rocks, in front of our entrance and all of that, and we need to reroute how we will be intaking so we're not.
Yeah. I would, Rona, I'd hold on telling them that yet. I think that's still being thought out completely. I wouldn't put that in a hard stone.
We should sit down with you and Frankie and
Yeah.
pace it and figure it. Because the other option is to take a little bit more of what is essentially country school parking.
Well, what I'm thinking of too is because that's convenient for the community meals, I'm all about it, I'm all about community meals. But if the parking, if one solution could be, right behind my two containers, there's that one little parking spot, you know?
Yep.
Maybe I can intake if the school, it's not gonna get in their way, because my containers also can open from the opposite end. So if they drive through that, if I can have that one parking spot for my donors, then I can open that back and receive and chuck right into my thing. I'm just trying to think ahead for the sake of, you know, before we drop it out to make sure I got my ducks in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's I think there's a lot of, because we've been waiting for permit for so long, we've been waiting for this general contractor price, and they've been very responsive, actually, but this value engineering piece, at times it felt like it was going to go on forever, but we've sort of suddenly kind of come to wow, we've got a number. And David, will back me up. But when talking to people that do want to support us, they really want to know that it's not an ish number, that it's a number. So now we've got that, I think things will move really fast. And that detail is important.
Yeah, nothing will happen. I mean, nothing will get, we'll sit down.
Yeah.
This is, as Tim said, this is all of a sudden become a very reality fast. And so we'll make sure that it works for the thrift store ministry. And, there's a lot to think through that is unfolding quickly. So trust that, yeah.
And this Lent, not to take anything away from what David said, Lent was, but this Lent is about raising money as well. So this challenge grant is for this Lenten period. Sorry. And that's what this period is. We want to hit that challenge. We want to hit $300,000 to match this challenge in the next 5 weeks. And that would really enable Vestry to say, yes, we can move with this. And we won't be there yet. As David said, there's still this just under 200,000 to meet.
Yeah.
But maybe we will have it all.
I
Maybe.
don't have a
Thank
doubt
you.
that this is going to happen. I mean, it brought us this far, and it may not happen in the exact timing as we're thinking out. I think it is a beautiful thing in one way that it's happening during Lent, as it is causing us to reflect on where God is leading us, and if we believe it is the voice of God, and if it is the voice of God, then we trust in that, like I tried to say in the sermon, even the priest. So we trust in that God is leading us, and we'll just walk it. But there is an urgency that if we do feel that we'd like to see this happen by Easter week, which I would love, then if people's hearts are so moved, it'd be lovely to have them moved over the next couple of weeks.
Yes. Yes. Lynn.
You've been in contact with the preschool and the yoga studio about how parking and traffic in this tent is going to impact them?
Yes, and Barbara at preschool has reached out to us. Hans is away for, I think, another week, but Hans is planning to go and talk to them again. They know that we've had their drop-off details. They're actually, Barbara was pointing out, they're going into summer break shortly, end of May. So they're thinking it's when they come back from summer break and things are properly in swing that they want to make sure their drop-off and pickups are not affected. Yes, we're talking to them all. And Martha Kidd has done a great job of supporting Hans and Ian's connections with them so that they understand where we're at.
What other questions do you have?
What about the 12-step groups that meet in the pavilion?
Oh, yeah, they actually are looking for other places. The morning group could quite easily come into the Church or Spencer building. So I can't speak for them, but I know that they are thinking about that, but they're also looking at other places. The Chalk building is another possibility. The tricky one is the Sunday morning group. Sunday morning group is bigger than Spencer House.
Could I speak to that a minute?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite possibly it could be in the, thanks, Bobby. Where did I have, Ian. Yeah, the Chalk building, some of you were in it when it was the Restore. As Alex, you've been in it and many times and know that it's the biggest restaurant space, you told me, in actually all Waimea. So it's a big space. So there may be opportunity. Right now, the power's out over there after that fire. And so the first thing, we outlined immediate things to take care of as soon as closing happens. And one of the things is Ian has on his list restoring power to the property, but we got to get in there and make sure it's safe and that restoring the power is not dangerous and all of that. So nobody can meet over there until we know that it's safe to be on the property. Even just walking across the property, there's holes and things we didn't even know about that you can trip into. So just making sure it's safe first and foremost, and then we'll see how we can use it. Absolutely, if it's, I think that's a great way to use it if we could. I mean, it's a huge blessing, enormous blessing. I just kept stressing about they're going to put fencing all up here, and this is going to be the construction staging, and how are we going to have parking while all this is going on, and how the thrift store can stay open, and we had kind of mapped things out in ways, but it was pretty tight in how it was going to happen. The acquisition of the Chalk property just took all of that away and just really gave us a big breath of being able to stage it over there.
Last Thursday, for the meal, it was a really good meal group, partly because Waimea Middle School sponsored, and so a number of the mentors and parents came, and there were about 8 kids helping to volunteer. This was completely full. All of the white picket fence was absolutely full. There were just only a few spaces here, so a lot of volunteers go in this space. And I thought then, if we didn't have chalk building and that parking lot was out because that was staging area, that would be a massive challenge on a daily basis, but especially Thursday and especially Sunday, honestly.
Yeah.
So as David said, taking that away and saying the construction staging is hidden, and that there will be a small road that they will build between the two properties so that they've got access with their vehicles. But that means we can keep that space parking for our use.
Could I ask, Alex, I don't want to put you on the spot, but could you say a word about your role through this so the congregation knows? I'm going to give you the mic. And then we got a few more minutes left, so if you got questions, please ask. Yeah, hold it right up to you. You don't have to say a lot, just a word or two. But how do you understand your role?
Not to put me on the spot. So, hi everyone. So I've been a residential and commercial building inspector for my entire adult life. It's a family business, and in my role as an inspector over the years, I've been asked by developers and owners to essentially ensure the quality of their project through inspection. And so the service that I offer the church is to keep our contractor and all of their subcontractors as honest can be in everything that they do. And in addition to that, provide opportunities for things like value engineering, ensuring that we have our windows installed properly so that they don't leak on us, ensuring that our plumbing is installed properly before we pour the concrete over it so that it also doesn't develop leaks, and essentially ensure the quality of the project. Yeah.
It's great to have Alex. Alex is right here. Alex owns Commonwealth of Hardwoods, so he's right down the street, and it's not that he's going to be on property 40 hours a week or the whole time, but he is available right with us to come right over if that's needed, if there's something like that. So thank you, Alex. We're thrilled you're on staff. Is there any other questions for any of us? I'm looking around. Mel.
Can you just quickly go through the timeline of when the property transfers to us, the chalk property? And it's got to, as I understand, be clear of whatever squatters and so on, and how's all that coming?
Yeah, this has been a very delicate situation in that we're trying to help those in need. We've partnered with Hope Services in having them come on the property and trying to help folks. But legally, we've been told that the property can't transfer if there's anybody on the property. So right now, we have no say over anything. That is not, we can try to help, but we're not even, we've been given permission to go on the property, but we really haven't, we don't have any, it's not our property. And so we're trying to help, we're trying to be available for resources. When it will close, it was scheduled to close this past Tuesday, but there was in Jump Up Vestry, if I remember right, there was something on the chalk side, something on a contract needed to be reworded or spelled differently. So that had to be corrected. And the other thing is Mr. Chalk has got to have the property in a certain way that we can receive it. So I would guess it's going to happen this next week. What would you say, Ian? Possibly. Anybody who's closed on a piece of property, you know how this goes.
Yeah, the main thing is, so Mr. Chalk did, through a contractor, secure the buildings. He put padlocks on them, but since then they've been re-broken into, or at least one of them has. And so he's been made aware of that it's not clear. So what we want to see is, a period after which he secures it, that it gets monitored, and for us at least, 5 days worth of no re-break-ins and things like that, so that we know it's clear. And then because otherwise if, if it goes up till the day before we close and they say it's clear, then we inherit that problem. We do have, as I think we talked about in at least a bulletin before, we do have new security system coming onto the campus. So there'll be some, cameras, motion detectors, things like that, that mainly for use at night here because there has been unwanted activity at night. The only people that are supposed to be on this campus at night are Everett and the people in that house. And we will extend that system to the Chalk property so that we can monitor it. We're supposed to be getting some temporary kind of mobile stations to monitor that in the meantime. I don't know, I'm waiting on the vendor to tell me when they're arriving, but we have ordered those. So we are, because it is, there's enough foliage, it is far away from the rest of the things that it's difficult for us to monitor it. Just looking at looking from here. So we want to ensure that that the buildings aren't re-broken into, particularly as we look towards turning on electricity and other services to at least make some of the buildings operational.
Does that answer your question? Okay. Anybody else? We'll have hopefully much more. We gave an update in the insert about the Chalk property, and that's really what we know right now. But as far as the gathering place, any other questions? Nothing? No? You ready for it to be built? All right. Okay, good.
I want to say thank you. I look around this room now and I look into the camera and imagine who else is watching now and later on. There are so many people, 308 people giving to this campaign. That's very unusual. Even the school usually has about 150, 160 to a big capital campaign. The Smart Center was less than 200. So the numbers of people giving is very important to us, as well as the amounts. Our biggest single giver is Tom Robertson Estate at 1.4 million. It's coming up. The smallest giver is $25, and there are actually quite a lot of $25 and $50, $75 and $100 and $500. And thank you, because I look around this room and I see that many, many people have already supported the project. Thank you very much. Tell your friends. And now is a great time. We're in Easter, and just say it's the last Easter push. Now is when we are looking for further help to just get us past that finish line. We are going to start this. And it doubles their money, just like Hawaii Public Radio tells you. It's half the time.
And some people donated under the anonymous.
That's true. That's true. And some people donated and then thought, wait, I could get my grandkids' name in here, and donated under their grandkids. And that's a great idea. And if you want to do that against them, well, I've already given, yeah, but I could get, then you can donate under somebody else's name. We haven't quite figured out how to put 300 and something names on the wall yet, but we'll do it. We will get everybody acknowledged.
And the wall, and then Jada in just a second, but the wall won't be in largest giver starting at the top, and it won't be in alphabetical. It's just going to be random, because this is the gathering place that gathers us all, regardless of our backgrounds. No name is going to be put anywhere on the building this was given. This is everybody given. This is the gathering place given by everybody. I have heard people say, I don't think I can give that much. I'm embarrassed if I can only give. Tell them don't do that. I never see a name and a number beside each other. I only see names. And so everybody, whether it's $25 or 25 million, whatever you can, we need, you need to make sure that this is all of us together. And so really go out there and say, please be a part of this. Put your name up on the wall that you're a part of making this happen. We need the big givers. Of course you do in anything like this. You need people who have that ability to do that, but you also need everybody knowing that this is for all of us, all right? Jada first and then Cyrus. Ah, good question. So if ground breaks in first part of April.
August 2027. Starting in April, 16
Yeah,
months, right?
16 months.
16 months is what quality have given us. It was one of the reasons why we preferred quality over the other full bid, which was the other full bid was 20 months. So, 24, that's right. It was, so quality is prepared to, and they are still, thankfully, they haven't taken another major job in the interim, and they know this is the next big job they're ready for. They're prepared to put their A-team on this and to bring full resources to bear, which is, it's
a good
huge.
point. That's
because
a good point.
so many contractors could have by now
Yeah.
taken other major gigs, and we lost 2 that were quoting for us because they took other gigs, and they were honest enough to say, we can't do justice to you, so we're not going to quote in this last stage.
Yeah.
And quality actually, it's worked out. A couple of other things have fallen over for them. That's not what I wished for them, but it's worked out that they are ready to start in April.
That's a big deal. That hadn't fallen to the front of my brain. That's pretty big. Cyrus?
I think somebody answered it before, I can't remember. Are all the trees coming out?
Oh, quite a lot. I want people to be, well, no, I don't want them to be shocked, but they will be shocked. I want you to know that you might be shocked. The centennial tree, which is that double tree, and it took us ages. Alex, you can remember what it's called. Can you remember what it's called?
We're going to
Japanese.
move that tree.
Pride of India. We've had some advice saying if we try to move it, it will likely die. So that's the one we're most concerned about. If we can move it, we will, but it's not in great shape. There will be 2 smaller lehuas. There's the big kind of custard tree. What is that?
I think you're asking about the
the paperbark trees.
paperbark.
They don't go.
Yeah, they'll be there.
Paperbark trees stay.
Yeah, they have a life expectancy. You guys know over the years, they have another name, and it's for a reason. I mean, their roots, they have a life on them. So at some point, but at least for right now, it's not. Other questions? We're right really to the end of our time. Do you got other? It's okay if it's a hard question, you guys. It's all right.
When's the next meeting?
Hopefully, this is us moving forward. And as Tim said, boy, that just gave me another thought that, the builder's ready to go now. And anybody who's been building with contractor and know that your schedule and their schedule have to line up. So.
Groundbreaking is the next big meeting.
Yeah, groundbreaking. Hopefully, my guess would be if we hit the 300, the vestry would probably, my guess knowing the vestry would be comfortable with that last 191 to go ahead and start the build, sign the contract, but I think they would probably want to at least hit that, I'm guessing.
Is there any trouble with the cemetery?
Not that anybody's told me. Alex, Paul, any trouble with the cemetery?
Did a record search, and as far as we know, everything is on this side of the wall, so.
Okay. All right, so no trouble with the cemetery.
And we had a number of soils analyses in this area here, which didn't bring any bones up.
All right, anything else? Mike?
How many people do we figure we're gonna have with this place wide open and everybody occupying all the buildings and whatnot?
How many people?
How many people? Capacity, Paul.
Capacity?
Yeah, capacity.
The dining room is maximum 120, but people always cram a lot more in there. I mean, I did a early graph. You could put, if you just had chairs, like for a theater, you could put 240 people, chairs in there, but it would not be legal for the fire marshal.
But right now, we're putting a lot more into rebuilding every Thursday, right?
Say that again, Mike?
No, we're not. We're putting about that number in there. Actually, if you're actually there on a Thursday and you try and do a head count, you never hit 100, actually. It's under 100,
moves
so it's a
over.
little bit
Yeah.
bigger. Not much bigger, a little bit bigger than the pavilion space currently, but without all the, the fridges, the freezers, the dust and dirt. So significantly more space. And I actually don't know who did this last artist rendering, but I really like the picture on the at the top. showing people spreading out. Did you ask Bobby to do that?
ChatGPT today.
ChatGPT did that, fantastic. But it just shows that we will spill out, which I think that's what we always will do.
The county pushed so hard and long to get some kind of better sewage treatment plant, and this is going to be a concentration of as many people probably as anything in this town existing, and I know they're pushing hard to have something. You don't want to be back into a sewage treatment.
No, we had a lot of toing and froing with county, which is why I mentioned DOH and sewer division. They at one stage suggested we needed to do a wastewater treatment center, which was essentially what the hospital had. I mean, it was a huge thing to require of us, and we pushed back with, we planned these 3 septics in a line. It's still using up a lot of space underground, but they accepted that. They took all of our ME calculations and civil calculations based on, not based on how much water we're using, mind you, based on how much water we could use cooking for that many people. Now, we don't actually use a whole lot of water. We operate into a tiny septic tank back here. So when you have to hit county code, that's the worst possible scenario. You know, as long as we hit that, we're not going to go over it.
The way that with the grass bridge you're talking, there's going to be a half an acre or more of parking, established parking, as opposed to putting parking where the parking.
It will be striped. This is where we're at with parking at the moment, is we have to provide grubbed and graded fire lane. And the fire lane is actually coming in the way that we're not supposed to come in there, and it comes through and towards the property there, because there's less of a sharp turn than if it came there. So that's the fire lane. Mm-hmm. Then we have to provide ADA parking, which is I think about 6 spots.
Yep, so there's paved, striped ADA parking right in front of the building for 6. And then the rest of it all is still kept grass, and we're going to put Chiave logs just to designate on the outskirts, on the edges, where people park. But in general, it's going to be business as usual.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be very similar, and what we do now is have people to tell you where to park, and that's how it best works.
The intent is the Chalk property will someday be overflow parking for this site.
Possibly.
I think
Possibly.
there's lots of possibilities with, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We might be an overflow for events and things there as well.
We are about 10 after, so we've gone over. But I want to thank Tim and Paul and Alex and Ian. Thank you joining us online and watching later. Keep this in your prayers, and if your heart is moved to you now know the final number. I had several people say to me, come back to me when you know the final number. The final number is
This is what I think of the final number we have to raise. So the final number we have to raise is 6,620,000.
which that leaves us with 791. 791 is our final number, okay? 600 of that is the match. So we can drop it to 191 like that.
Thanks to Harry and Tom.
Thanks to Harry and Tom.
So if you are inclined to increase whatever pledge you gave, and I hope you are, please do it this week if possible. Let's bring this home, get the contract signed, and start planning the groundbreaking. Yeah. Aloha.
Amen. Aloha.